I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Welcome again to Beer Talks Curbside Edition. Currently, it looks like I'm drinking all by myself, which would be very sad, but I'm not, I promise. I have Liz over here with 12 West. That's where we're at. Beautiful, brand new downtown location. She's currently helping us turn off some music and just getting the final touches. Didn't want you guys to be waiting super long and wondering what's going on. Of course, we're also missing our tall and handsome man today, as life happens. Unfortunately, he had to take care of some stuff at the Pint, help them out tonight, so everything will be wonderful and grand, and we will still be sharing some awesome beers with you. We also just have some fun random guests today. Louise, say hey! Our buddy from Walter Station that was with us last week, sampling in the background, decided to join us today too. Got a great regular of ours and good friends, Brian, sitting in the wings, asking some questions for us as we go. So a little bit different today. Obviously, I hear her glasses clinking. You are beautiful. Yeah, I had to start live because I didn't want people to think we were late.
Recording.
So hey.
Did I take your spot?
No, you're fine.
I totally took your spot.
Everybody, welcome Liz.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
So happy to have you. Liz is one of my nearest and dearest, one of my favorite people in the whole world. She just recently, what now, a month, 2 months?
Just about a month-ish, month and a couple of days here at 12 West.
Yes, so we're super, super happy for her. You've been a part of local beer community for a long time.
For a minute.
You worked for Greenwood for a little while. You did Whining Pig. What are some other places that you did?
I've done a lot of volunteering, a lot. Really one of my breakthrough career moments in craft beer has been with the Whining Pig. Started at their small location, helped develop their marketing campaign, did a bunch of festivals and other fun events, which really kind of put my foot in the door with 12 West. I've been really a big fan of the craft beer scene and really just our personal relationships with each other. You know, like I've gotten to know a lot of really great, eclectic, beautiful people, and I think that really to help nurture this community is to become better knowledgeable about beer myself.
Absolutely.
So jumping on to 12 West was a huge honor for me. I have loved this brand for years. Being a Mesa girl myself, raised in East Mesa, 12 West, and seeing just the brand grow and seeing what new and fun and interesting things came about with the brand and the brewery has just really kept me on my toes. So when I jumped on to this brand, I was like, you know what, this is a great fit. I'm a beer girl. I fear no beer. So I was really, really excited for you to get on. Oh no, I'm putting on a shirt. And if I see anybody else with a I fear no beer shirt, I'm coming after you.
CC,
but in a really nice way. So please don't steal my stuff. So
if you can't already tell the difference in how this episode is going to run comparatively, get ready.
Get yourselves ready, folks.
Just say. So, we definitely, as I'm already spilling
alcohol
beer.
abuse.
This is really bad. I've only had like half of a beer, I swear. Obviously, we're going to feature today all things 12 West. We, of course, wanted to feature your guys' beers, definitely welcoming you into downtown Mesa, remind people about the fabulousness that you have, some rebranding that you guys have done with some different beers and stuff. And then kind of the beery side of talks today is going to be draft versus cans versus bottles. One of the big kind of curious things and stuff that people bring up is like, oh, when I have it on draft, it tastes like this, but when I get it in a can, I notice differences. And
it's the same beer, just slightly different personality almost, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like a mood change. And then, I mean, we're going to get into this really cool talk, and I mean, there's a lot of things out there, but what does it say? Like the fresh is best. And that's one thing that we definitely hold true to our beers. We don't go from bright tank to keg to can. We go straight from the bright tank into the can. So for some of you who don't know what a bright tank is, it's basically the last final stop before consumption or kegging or packaging before you enjoy your beers, the last part of the brew process. So yeah, we got a lot of frosty adult beverages to handle here.
So excited.
Oh, and I'm telling you, I wouldn't be in this business if it wasn't for the straight up fact that I love beer.
Yeah.
Like, love beer.
Any of it. And
Any of it.
it's very much like, even regardless of where you work, you know, if you're like, obviously, I don't know if, I'm sure most of you know by now, but I now work at Helton Brewery. I had to tee right on. Great
Congratulations,
advertising
by the
placement,
way. Big kudos
thank
to
you.
Miss Kirby
Super
here.
excited.
Hell yeah.
Obviously made that connection through working at the Casual Pint, which I was allowed to see all different kinds of beers, all different local breweries that I didn't know coming from San Diego, and it cultivated that relationship, which is awesome. But by no means, when you go and work for a specific brewery, do you downplay or degrade any other local breweries. And I think that's a big thing about craft versus a lot of like the larger domestic.
Oh, we'll shit talk AB InBev all day, folks. Don't get us wrong. But just kidding.
Yeah, no, but no, sure, we love you. You know, that's something I think, like you said, it's the camaraderie of it. It's like you can work for Walter Station or 12 West or Helton or Helio or any of these local breweries, and you can still appreciate and applaud and congratulate your teammates, essentially.
Right.
Because we're all on the same giant team
Right.
of craft beer.
We're going to go to those like special releases. I'm going to put my order into Cider Core and be like, I don't care. I'm going to fight tooth and nail for my damn cider. It's a matter of not only just raising people up, but congratulating and give credit where credit's due.
Absolutely.
You know, I love it.
This is just going to be a whirlwind
Nailed
today,
it.
and I love
Fucking
it.
nailing it, y'all.
In case you missed the first part, I'll reintroduce. This is my boo, Liz, from 12 West.
Hello, everyone.
She's my boo thing. Love her. Welcome. You can finally like see everything. I see Eric. Hey, what's up? He says, hey, ladies. Wanted to say hi.
Aw.
Appreciate ya.
Hi.
Definitely excited to have you. So we're here at 12 West. We're going to taste all things 12 West. Show some rebranding, some fun stuff that you have going on, as well as discuss if and why you would taste anything different in draft versus can. And then we're going to answer the age-old question that I had so much fun learning about today and researching at work, because that's what I get to do.
Our jobs don't suck.
So much is about what it never sucks, right? We have some side guests, which we're super excited about. Hi, Brian. We're going to talk about the age-old question of if something says bottle conditioned, what the fuck does that mean?
What the fuck does that mean?
Because why choose bottle versus can versus draft versus all of those things? So we're going to get right into it because we've done a little bit of an intro. Hey, everyone. Let's talk 12 West.
Let's talk 12 West.
When did you guys start? What was the core idea? What were you wanting to do as a brand?
Cool. So, 12 West actually started here, where we are physically right now. The address to where we are sitting currently is 12 West Main Street in Mesa. So if anybody's curious as to where that come from, it's down here at our beautiful downtown location. We do have another location. It's at Bar None in Gilbert in the Agritopia area.
Been to that one.
Super charming, the OG spot. We love it down there. You'll get the same quality beers in package as well as draft at both locations. Basically, the owner just decided to start brewing, like a lot of us getting into, craft beer, trying it out ourselves. It's a chemistry set. It's a consumable chemistry set, if I'm not wrong. There's beer right there. Clear.
I know. I swear.
Allergies. It's allergies.
I'm pretty sure something like went down the wrong tube.
Allergies. I'm not afraid. I'll get within less than 6 feet. Anywho,
sorry.
So the owners of 12S came up with like this great idea, decided to just do a great quality beer, and basically that's where we are right now. We have our 2 locations, and we're looking to just keep delivering a great quality beer with a story behind it, with lightness and tastefulness, and I'm literally meaning on the palate, for everything else. Gully and Andrew have knocked it out of the park. They are, shout out to our guys, really doing the hard work for us. They just do some really cool stuff, and it's really a team effort. We have our general manager Chuck here. We have Maui, our other general manager. We have Mike. I'm dropping names, so when you guys come in here, you can throw those names out. But we have everybody with their hands in. We talk about the names, we talk about the can art, we talk about like what can we do to put a personal touch on it, and it works. It just works. So we have a lot to talk about with our beers today. In front of you, you will see a lovely spectrum of some of the things that we have to offer. So yes, we actually just did this, and I'm super happy about this. We have our own canning line. Yay! So now we're going to can whatever the hell we want, and it's going to turn out just like you would expect in any of our tap rooms.
I love that, because I know a lot of, especially like when all the sort of COVID-iness was happening, with just going to take out and everything, a lot of these smaller breweries, a lot up in Flagstaff and Prescott and stuff, were doing this mobile canning line.
Mobile West. Shout out to Mobile West. Y'all have done leaps and bounds for the beer industry here in Arizona. I'm not just speaking on behalf of 12 West. I'm speaking on behalf of literally every
Walter Station is saying.
Shout out to Walter Station. Seriously.
Thank you.
Mobile West. You guys have literally done it well. You guys have done it so well.
Crushed it. Is that like a bad?
No, I think that's good. Dad jokes all day long.
Yes.
Shout out to Goldwater with their dad jokes. Hoppy Lager coming in. I just tried it yesterday. I was at Sip in Scottsdale. So love you guys. Good job.
So we actually have a question.
Ask away.
Which is super cool. This place, being the 12 West Mesa location, is huge, and I
It's
have
fucking massive.
It's enormous. What was it before this? Was it something different, or do you guys build it?
It was a wedding venue, actually. It was an events venue. Downtown Mesa is full of really cool nooks and crannies. I mean, that's why they call it the Miracle Mile. So Miracle Mile is actually an homage to Chicago for its shopping district. But because downtown Mesa and Mesa in general is home to the Chicago Cubs, which has a huge following out here. We love that. I love me some Cubbies. Been watching them since I was a little kid, raised in Mesa.
Yeah.
Naming it the Miracle Mile was super appropriate. So you have the light rail. You have several different brewing and bars down here. So you've got us here at 12 West, Chupacabra Tap Room, Oro Brewing, Desert Eagle Brewing, Cider Core,
I was gonna say cider
restaurants up and down the neighborhood. I mean, it's great. So when we are saying it's the Miracle Mile, it's literally the miracle. If you're into craft beer, the Miracle Mile. And there's still so much to be, literally, I hate saying it, brewing. in downtown Mesa. You have the Mesa Arts Center.
Somebody keep like a tally of how many dad
Jokes,
we
that's
make.
2 solid ones so far. That's all we're
Two
getting
so
you,
far.
folks. If at the end of this live video you can tell us how many dad jokes you are, I'll buy you a beer.
I'll buy you
So.
one too. I like it. You
I
go
like
to 12 us get one. You come to Helton get another.
Ta-da!
Love. So let's.
So yeah, do you want to drink some beer?
Yeah, I really want.
Okay, let's drink some beer. Let's start. Let's go ahead and start with the lighter stuff, or do you want to start with the darker stuff? That really depends.
Let's do lighter stuff so we can
Solid.
knock out the palate later.
I want to introduce you to Zona. This is Zona right here. You can help yourself. It is our Pilsner. It is an American style Pilsner. It is delicious.
Do you have your own glass or are we sharing?
How about this?
We need more glass. You drink. Do you want to drink out of the can and I'll drink? I was like, I don't care.
I don't
Sharing.
discriminate in any vessel that this comes in, but
Beautiful.
where's my Zona?
I think this one's actually the Zona. If you
I can't see backwards. There she is. This is Zona. You can also find us at Total Wine. Shameless plug. Not so shameless. This is our Pilsner. This was actually voted 2019 Pilsner for Arizona. Phoenix New Times. Love you guys. This launched about 2 years ago. It's delicious. It's super crushable. I'm going to take a 6-pack down the river eventually. Crisp, crushable, easy drinking. And I love the word crushable because not only are we going to use that double entendre, double up on, yeah. But it is really, it's one of those things where I've said this actually several times today, just talking shop. You can tell, and I actually take this from Megan Greenwood, shout out to Megan, you can tell a brewery's salt by the way that they brew their Pilsner.
100%. We've brought this up for sure in multiple other ones. With Brian when he was on at Helton, with the guys Dustin and Mike K over at Helio, talking about Pilsner being that beer that is as easy drinking as it is. It's the most difficult brew to beer.
I can't remember if it was Miller
brew.
Coors or if it was Budweiser, but somebody came out with a campaign and it said, brewed the hard way. And they're not wrong.
Yeah.
We may give a lot of, shit to the guys that are, have a lot of money, but listen, a brewery, for those of you who don't know how a Pilsner blonde lager is actually brewed, it is not easy to brew one of these things. Basically what you do is you do the entire process that you would normally do with your beer, but the conditioning is key. So what you're doing is you're taking that beer and you're slowly dropping it in degrees, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of other things that go into it. Surface area, the actual hop profile that you need. Yeast, oh my word, yeast. All about the yeast really does take a lot of dedication and nurturing to produce this beer. Just because it's light, just because it's easy to drink, just because it's low in ABV does not mean that it's the easy beer to brew. No. So when we're doing these, it's like you take care, you take patience, and when it turns out right, it turns out right. So, glassware. Like, no,
share.
please. The staff here at 12 West is literally the best. You're a doll. I love my coworkers. I'm telling you.
Ladies, if you want some good-looking men to look at.
For realsies!
Jesus. Sorry. Maybe I've been single for way too long.
Luis is like, I'm not gay, but I am.
They are. There's
We have some
very
we have some
lovely
really
ladies,
beautiful
too.
people here. Like,
There's some lovely ladies.
I love that he brought us actual different glassware other than our 10-ounce tulips because now we can tell the difference.
I know. Well, and
So-
I would love to have you pour it so you can really, we can do a side by side to be like, look, there's no color difference. You shouldn't be having any of that.
So glassware, ooh, that one is actually,
I grabbed the wrong.
yeah, that's, so that's, just kidding, you were right.
Okay.
So,
Yours is a little
some
bit.
of you may look at this and say, I remember pouring my first beer. First of all, hush. Second of all, this is typical. This is okay. This amount of head It's going to be all right. Here's why. Glassware. You're almost pouring into a champagne flute, which is very comparable to this one. Compared to, let's say, if we drain this glass and I poured a fresh one in here, you're not going to see as much of a head profile. Fun fact is there is actually more alcohol in the head than there is actually in the body of the beer. There you go. Yep. And you'll notice that it dissipates quickly, but not where it's just like, whew, like a souffle that like flattens. That's another telltale sign of a couple of things. One, could be dirty glass, contaminated beer, but you're not seeing that already. And we'll get into that. I feel it could be another.
That could be a whole other day.
Listen, we know
What's
beer.
gonna
We
happen
love
with-
beer. This is what you get out of passion from beer, right? This is what you get when you are knowledgeable and happy about your product. So, anywho, I'm gonna tell you right now that is Onza, and this one is. Yep, that's Zona.
Okay. I've been drinking the wrong one.
That's okay because it's fucking
really
delicious.
good.
But it's really good.
I went
So-
by the paper. Orlando, by the way, says
Orlando from Founders fame.
Love him. Love him. I was talking about you all day today, weirdly enough. There's just some other people saying hi and everything, which is wonderful. Kyle, my Kai, so great to have
Oh,
you.
and then Kylie from SIP is telling me that she loves me and that I'm professional. Damn right. Game, recognized game.
We'll see how professional today's is.
I know, we're just
We've got a lot of beer to drink. Which, okay, so I was
crashing
drinking
at
the
my
wrong
sister's
one
house
the whole
tonight, first
time.
of all. Sorry, Paul. Somebody's got to take care of the dog. Anyway, cheers.
So happy to have you.
Ugh.
Okay, yeah. Makes total sense. So I was drinking the Pilsner, or the Mexican lager version. Pilsner.
What's coming up next?
This is interesting. It's not quite what I imagined. It's still very good. And I'm like, this tastes interesting.
It's not as limey and there's no salt. What
Yeah.
gives?
The Pilsner with the Zona, I get so much more yeast forward. That bready, butteryness to
Right.
it. Like, it's really, really nice. This is a lot lighter on the mouthfeel for me, and the finish that hangs out.
Right. So
It's really cool.
So we're comparing Zona to Onza, which is
Is that guy?
this big boy. First of all, somebody was asking me, well, what the hell is an Onza? It is a cat in Hispanic, Central American culture, kind of like a spirit animal,
That's cool.
but we made it golden shimmery.
Because
It's
why not?
really dope. It is made with maize flakes, or I can't pronounce it because I'm white. Maize, or it's maize, right? So corn. So it's made with corn flakes, mixed matuka, which is my favorite word for like variety of hops. Matuka, just like saying over matuka. Like I think I could totally do something like that. And then also Saaz, Saaz. And I have heard about like 5 other different brewers pronounce that one even differently. So whatever, I
it's
drink it
gonna
and it's
happen.
going to taste delicious. But this is our newest release. We released this on the 12th. We released it last weekend. Our Mexican style lager, and we're going to talk about this one next because of all the products right here. I'm going to tell you right now, the Onza versus can and draft will be very, very similar.
Perfect.
So with that, this one is from a can. Kirby was trying it from the draft. So throughout this video, when you guys see me crack one open, that's going to be from the can. And we're going to be talking about the differences between flavor profiles of both of these. So I'll go ahead and trade you. Okay. So this one's out of the can.
Beautiful. This
And
is
I'm
the
rotating
Pilsner.
the glass.
I actually get a lot more aroma from the can.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. So much more of that nose on it.
And why do you think that is?
Part of me wants to say it's the fact that this has been poured a few minutes ago, and so it's been sitting for a little bit. I think some of it has to do with the glassware.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm like, it has nothing to do with
Some
really
people have
carbonation
like
or anything.
no
but
concept of like the fact that glassware can, and in a lot of cases does, make a huge difference.
It really does.
Huge body of difference. So for example, I mean, I'm going to pull this one over here. This is called a classic tulip. Okay, I'm sorry, this is, well, kind of sort of be a little bit more bulbous. There's actually scientifically proven ways to pour a beer in a certain glassware. One of them is another one you'll see in just a typical pint glass. It's also known as a Pilsner glass. You'll have snifter glasses that are going to be made just for a specific style of beer. Honestly, I think the best kind of glass, but it's super hard to maintain in a brewery when you're cranking out a ton of beer, is a Taiku glass. Taiku glasses have been formulated and have been proven to really optimize the aroma, flavor profile, and overall presentation of a beer. If you don't know what a Taiku glass, it looks like a really funky wine glass. So it's going to be very wide on the bottom, kind of narrowed up in a nice lip at the top on a stem. And a very thin stem at that.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Like even just thinking about having that wider space at the top that's to really propel the aroma forward.
Right.
And then if the beer being able to move and change. Did you get your own samples over there? Oh my gosh.
Excuse me.
Oh my gosh.
Look at you. Hold up.
Hysterical. So,
Yeah, buddy.
Luis with Walter Station, who was
back to Walter Station.
Light rail.
our
Seriously, because the light rail takes you
I love
straight
it.
back.
our little
Oh.
behind the scenes guy last time, who we were like passing samples to, has decided to go to the bar and get whole samples for himself that are about my size. So that's a lot of fun.
If you guys can't see it, you can tune into mine and just check that out. But
I
who
love
are you
it.
just talking?
Yeah, check
so
into all of them.
Wonderful.
We've got multiple things going on. Joe Guffey, our famous, infamous camera guy, is of course letting me know about any questions and stuff that are going on. Matt, I'm sure you've said something at this point, and I've missed you. I'm sorry.
Coolest can, I love Mexican lager.
Coolest can, love Mexican lager.
Fucking rock on.
And Dirty
And
Mike.
Dirty
is
Mike.
one of them.
Okay, that's
Matt, we talk about him every week because Matt is a guy that watches us like his Wednesday religion. We adore him. He asks really cool questions. He's just a phenomenal human being. So
And there's one more that says, all good, I love 12 West. Is that the new Palatera sound?
Sure is. Oh, it is the new Palatella. We're going to get there in a second, I promise. But we did release it today. No limits on 4-packs. It does not have lactose in it. We'll get to that in a second. But pineapple and tangerine, part of the Palatero series. We've done vanilla and blueberry, vanilla and, I mean, just a myriad of different ones. So this is part of our series. I couldn't be more proud. One of my servers asked me today, she's like, if you could have one beer for like ever from 12 West, what would it be? And I'm like, honestly, I am mad at the Palatero series. Like, I will have the Piña y Mandarina, and it is so good. It's great.
that's amazing.
It's good. We'll get into that one in a little bit. So, kind of wrapping up Zona.
It's just a really nice.
And y'all, look at this can.
It's adorable. And it's so Arizona. I can definitely see
Full
why
barrel
this
cactus.
one. It's beautiful.
I love this beer. I love this beer.
Really, the only difference that I see in the draft versus the can is that aroma, and I
Yeah.
think it purely has to do with the glassware. So one of the big things that when I was talking to some other brewers and talking with people prior to this episode, I was really saying, like, you know, hey, this is what we're going to cover, is the whole idea of like can versus bottle versus
Right.
draft. Like, how do you decide what you want to package it in? Because obviously the main underlying reason you want to package anything is to try and get it further out.
Right.
Try to mass produce it, try to sell it, get your brand out there. totally understand that. And I know we touched a little bit about like, you really want to make sure you're packaging straight from the tanks, from the, just because any time that you transfer a beer from one tank to a keg to a bottle to a can to whatever, every time you transfer it, you run that risk.
You're compromising something.
Absolutely. I mean, oxygen is number one.
It's the killer it's literally the kiss of death for any
style of beer.
Any style of beer. And there's a whole really cool way to kind of telltale whether or not a beer has been oxidized too much. And that really ranges from color, clarity, to actual, like, are you seeing bubbles in your beer? Are you not seeing bubbles in your beer? When you crack it open, is it flatter than my 12-year-old chest? Like, is that gonna really, like, differentiate between whether or not I want to drink? Thank you for catching that joke, by the way. Is it going to deter you from wanting to drink your beer? And really, it does kind of come to a matter of what I've ran into over the past very frequently couple of months is it out of necessity that we have to can, right? And the answer was yes. Not for us personally, but the trend that I saw in a lot of Arizona breweries is that canning is now going to be the new norm. Putting your beverage and your package together and selling that out to people that can't necessarily come to your brewery or are still a big fan and want to support you. One of the big things that my boyfriend and I both decided to do was over quarantine, we were going to eat out once a week. And if we were going to eat out once a week, it was going to be to a brewery that had food. So, because we, two birds, one stone. And we would get growler fills. We brought in our own growlers, and we were going to be like hyper local. We're going to support the breweries. We're going to support their kitchens. We're going to support their beers. And that's one thing that we really wanted to do. And we did maintain that for a long time. But when we started coming out with, somebody has like a new 4-pack out, or maybe somebody really cool is going to bring me a 4-pack. Hey, so
Rent House.
Hey, yeah, Rent House.
5-year anniversary. Just saying.
Alistair, let's talk. So anyway, so I think honestly, this is the new trend. This is the new normal. This is actually a great gateway. It may be a little bit more costly, but the ROI I think is already coming out.
100%.
So one of the things that Kirby you mentioned earlier was, okay, what are some of the benefits of canning? And seriously,
We had some fun.
ooh, we had some fun. Canning's super fun because not only are you putting a fresh piece of your art into something that can be distributed to many, it's also a good time to talk about something fun to do and creative, which is coming up with new can art.
Can art.
Coming full circle.
I mean,
Can art's fun. I cannot tell you how often I look for somebody else's can art to be released.
oh my gosh. Well, think about how many times you go out to a bottle shop, and I can't tell you how many people that have at least told me this when I was at the Pint was, I picked this beer because it had really badass art on it. I think of like Nightmare Brewing. Have you seen any of their stuff?
No.
Oh my god. It is like every gruesome death you could possibly imagine. It's like a horror film on every
Yes.
single one of their things. They have a guillotine. They have like a dude getting his guts ripped out. I mean, just nutso things.
Cool theme, bros.
Has nothing to do with the actual style of
I'm sure
beer.
their beer's delicious.
It is amazing. But their cans, it's one of those things you see and you go, okay, I have
Okay,
to
maybe
try
I gotta
this
make-
because
yeah.
what the hell is this? You think of Rent House, for example, with all their like Wally series and everything, and the cute little pup on doing all sorts of different things. Helio has done like a local artist, Jesse, doing some cool can art, and it's just fun to see that and what they do different. There's a lot more surface. I mean, it's quite literally there's more surface on a can that you can cover with really cool art
Right.
than you can in a bottle. And I know that has a big appeal. I definitely read,
Hi, Doug.
a lot of people do cans because of the environmental effects that it has. We can
Easier to
this.
recycle. I mean,
We're not stressing about it as much as glass. A huge impact, I think, and I think why we're seeing so much change from a lot more bottles to can is quite simply there's less worry about light getting and screwing up the beer. I mean, you think about, I did a test years and years ago one time to prove a point to somebody. We took a bottle of Corona back in a pool day.
clear bottle.
Clear bottle.
Notoriously skunky, but somewhat intentional.
Absolutely. Side note to the off flavors we talked about, like Stella, Rolling Rock, all those kind of funky things. We took a bottle of that. We took actually a bottle of Heineken, I want to say, the green bottle, and then we put I think it was like a Negro Modelo or something out. We left them out in the sun for an hour, and I was proving this whole idea of light really affecting the beer and how quickly it can happen. And we had a bottle inside, bottle out, open it up, and sure enough, that Corona.
Did you chill it after it was in the sun though to make it somewhat palatable?
No, I don't think we were that smart.
I think that was your first mistake, Kirby.
No, at the
Warm
time,
Corona.
they were all terrible. But I'm sure we brought them inside it for a little bit. This was like 10 years ago.
I think we may need a Mythbusters that again.
It was horrible. But yes, Orlando, you actually said exactly what I was going to bring up. Is that a lot of the main reason why brewers do cans is because they think of them in the idea that they're like mini kegs.
Truth.
They're
So true.
completely airtight. They're light tight. They're sealed in such a way that so much less
Fucked it up.
oxygen and different things can get in and expose them. You know, you think about
You're limiting your variables to what can really ruin your beer.
So you think about
And light
like,
is a big one. People really don't think about light.
perfect example. So you think about you have a closed can. Whether I put it in my fridge like this or I put it in like this is not going to make a difference. Because
Maybe
there's
if it gets colder, but not really because it's already full. So
oxygen wise, right?
oxygen wise,
If I've got a bottle, if I have it sitting upright, there's only this much surface of this bottle that has the risk of having
Absolutely.
oxygenation. If you put it sideways, it's now this entire length of it.
yeah,
And that was my little like
eye-opening
moment today when I was talking with Brian Alton before I came here. Like, please tell me my research is right and I'm thinking the right things. And he's like, well, you know, in typical Brian fashion.
Brian's gonna love your
You
impression
know,
of him, by the way.
you know.
I like this
Right.
one for Brian's beard.
Yes. We love his beard.
It's more like this. I love Brian.
As I talk to him, I'm like, let me pick that hair off. It's something. No, it's all love. We love Brian. He's my fact checker for sure. I like to make sure if I'm
Brian is one of those brewers where it's like you know that he is like the mad super genius behind it, where he is looking at it not just from like a brewer standpoint, not just somebody who's a chef putting ingredients together at the right time, but engineering wise. Like he can be doing his own thing and you can physically see the wheels moving in his brain.
It's nuts. And it's not one hamster. It's like there's 1,300 hamsters, all on their own wheels, all talking to each other and switching wheels and going around.
And shout out,
epic.
congratulations for being picked up by Hensley, Brian. You deserve it, and you are an amazing human being.
Yes.
Enough smoke up your ass. Let's drink some more beer.
Yes.
So let's move on
move
to
on.
Onza. I'm making a lager.
The one I already was drinking.
That's okay.
Well, I know we talked a little bit about it already, so we'll go through this one kind of briefly.
No fallen soldiers.
No. That's why I'm handing mine off.
This is why I'm going to crash at my sister's house. Thanks, Sarah.
They're so full to me. That's why I want more glasses. We can like split half and That would be amazing. Because there's no way I'm drinking all of this. I need to hand it off.
Quitter. I'm just kidding. So
Don't
kidding.
call me a
wow,
quitter.
that makes us sound like we're alcoholics in some sort. But you know,
No.
we're functioning. And we're responsible. I'm not drinking.
Alcoholic quit.
Alcoholics quit.
Matt has a comment.
Matt, what do you have to say, Matt?
A whole new level of creativity to show with the art and names. Although not the most important thing, DC is killing it with the art and names.
Absolutely. That is something so much in, I mean, I come from, moving here 3 years ago, I came from the San Diego craft brewery background. So I lived there for 6 years and definitely saw, of course, being surrounded by Stone and Mountain Times and Ballast Point and all these bigger guys, and then even the smaller ones, like, huge shout out to,
Yeah, this for you.
yeah.
No, it's
to
for
my-
the other handsome devil behind you.
my
Yes, there is another
favorite.
handsome devil behind you.
Hey,
You want to try some Mexican lager? Come on over.
yeah, come on over.
This is what we do here at 12 West.
That's good.
I can definitely
Yummy, right?
see- Thank you. I can
That's
definitely
an
see a
Onza.
difference.
Yeah. Cheers, my friend. Yeah. Oh, this is Dirty Mike, everybody. Mike, come here. Come here, Mike. Get your handsome, beautiful face in this shot. This is Dirty Mike.
Can
And
you
he
see
is one of
me
my
even?
favorites.
Of course,
Yeah.
All right,
You can't
there
see
you
mine
We're
here.
going in this
Yeah,
camera.
that's Dirty Mike. Maybe your thumb off. That's Dirty Mike. We love Dirty Mike. Dirty Mike is our master mixologist, another manager here. The man is fucking brilliant. He knows literally everything
Thank you.
that comes to liquor and spirits. So whenever you are here, and if you're not in the mood for beer, or if you're ready for beer for your second round, come see Mike for your first, because this guy is a mad evil genius.
Thank you.
I love him to pieces, and he brought us
Easy
glassware.
for you guys. Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
darling.
much. Appreciate.
Mike, you're my favorite, and you know it.
Give Joe some.
Love Mike.
But yes, absolutely to Matt's point, I mean, 100%. AZ Craft Beers really kill it on the logos and on the artwork.
Yeah.
And I love so much how they want to support fellow local artists, fellow local, just different community people. Going off of like when I was in San Diego, they had decent artwork, but I think about a lot of these bigger breweries and stuff that everybody kind of knows from San Diego, they keep it fairly simplistic. It's like, not to name names, but we'll know what it is if you know who it is. They got like their 3 lines, their pretty little name, what it is, and their other 3 lines, and it's a white can with like a different color.
White can with a different color. Just kidding.
And no picture, no artwork, nothing.
Kidding.
And like every single one of their beers is that same structure with just a different thing. So going straight to the shelf, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between their IPA, between their sour, between their stout. They all look very uniform. They're white with just different color lines on them. And so you have to like get up in and like read it, whereas so much of Arizona craft brewery, it's like I could walk up to an entire wall of 12 West beer, and without getting close, I would know which one's Arizona, what's the Midnight Run, what is the blah blah, like what is the Pina, all those different ones, and that's super cool.
We're not in the beer industry, we're in the marketing industry.
100%.
And after I just got done with a glorious rant about how much I love beer. But no, it's true. I mean, it is to the point where it's like, how can I swing this? How can I move this? How can I get people so hyped and have them feel my hype? How can I transcend this level of enthusiasm that I get out of beer to the next person?
100%.
And I say next person because as a female in beer, listen, that's a whole nother topic. But
That's a whole other
but
episode.
how do I emphasize this? So kind of like circling back to shout out to the local artists, right? We wouldn't be anywhere if these people didn't know A, what they're doing, B, knew how to market to everyone, but C, be creative. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Miracle Mile, this is also done by Corey Miller. Yeah! Shout out to Corey. Corey does all the stuff for Helton. So he is brilliant. He redid the whole new branding for it. I think the first one that he did was the boysenberry sour, and it was that skull and like the boysenberry waterfall. Yeah, I bought one of those tank tops immediately. But he also did this for downtown Mesa. We use our own guy as well, and he cranks out some beautiful stuff. I mean, Phil, primo stuff. Both you guys do amazing work, and you guys get it. Like, you guys get it. And I know there's a lot of untapped, pardon the pun, artists out there that want to get to do this kind of stuff. So I really look forward to those who are doing more can art, who are really getting out there. Because, listen, I don't have the patience to sit and teach myself Photoshop. So I rely on
artistic at all.
Rely on these folks so much, and I'm so proud of their work.
And I know we've done shout outs like Cass that did our can work when we did over at the Pride when we Dillinger was a cool collab with Midnight Lemonade. She's done multiple artwork up at Hilton that's super badass. I like to pretend I'm the blonde lady that's on the wall by the bathroom, like, oh. But it's not. But it's
you are the hottie of the brewery too. Listen,
Casey, what up, Casey?
Wait, Casey.
He says, "Yo, yo, ladies, this is awesome."
Yo, ladies.
Yo,
Casey, what up?
Which I adore. I knew everybody would be
I adore Casey.
Holy shit! There's a Liz and Kirby.
Liz and Kirby are doing. Oh shit!
It's gonna be like, here's all of us doing.
Hold
this
on to your
thing.
bar stools, ladies and gentlemen. Liz and Kirby are talking for a minute.
We're going off the deep end today, especially because we do not have Sweet Justin, R.I.P. today. We do miss you. Of course, we love having you. Super bummed. He had some.
It's not bureaucratic. It's actually
It's
physical
not a-
beer.
it's
like,
not a dad
stuff,
joke.
So it's a legit.
It's not a dad joke, but he had gas problems today.
No, dad joke number 3. Dad joke number 3. Who's keeping tabs?
I think it's 4, maybe. No, he unfortunately, on his way here, had to take care of some stuff for the pint. So we miss you. We're drinking enough for you. He says hi, by the way. He's waving. So we wish you would be here, but we're gonna have that much.
We're just gonna have to come back to Phoenix eventually
and do it again.
Yeah.
So let's try some of your other beers.
So that was Anza.
Because then we really need to get into.
What are your
I'm excited for these.
I forgetting to.
The Anza for me is it's a lot lighter on the yeast side. It's more.
It's not the same beer at all.
No, 100% different. Really, it's much lighter on the mouthfeel. It's a lot more just kind of mellow. I do get a little bit of liminess to it, almost lemon salt.
I pick up a lot of citrus, especially the tangy lime. The salt in there is intentional.
Okay. Good.
Some people think that a salt flavor is an off flavor, when in actuality it's not.
Yeah.
When it comes to Mexican lagers or gozas, for that matter, a lot of it comes down to the water compensation as well.
100%.
So let's say you are brewing with a water that has a high amount of sodium in it. It's going to be great for a Mexican lager. It's going to be great for a goza. It's going to be great for anything that you want to pull out. I almost think that brewing with almost like a higher salt content would be great for a Pilsner, or not necessarily Pilsner, sorry, a porter.
Okay.
Or maybe even a stout, depending on what other flavor profiles you want to put in there. But I think the salt content in here is really level. It's not your typical Mexican lager. Look at this. Would you see this coming out of like a Negro Modelo or anything?
It's not. More, like,
and it's not a hazy IPA, folks. This is not hazy. Well, it is, but it's not considered a New England style.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that in just a moment. But anyway. Kudos to our brewers. They nailed this one. The perfect timing. Hell, I'll drink a Mexican lager in the middle of January. I don't care.
I'm going to start pouring some of this off. Because
this is our Midnight Run. Ooh, I love me some Midnight Run. This is a cool beer. It is brewed over locally sourced coffee beans out of Yuma.
Cool.
There is caffeine in here, folks. Don't ask me how much caffeine, because I'm gonna lie to you. But this is an oatmeal stout as well.
Perfect.
So it's brewed with oat. It's an oatmeal stout. Spirit Mountain Coffee. Shout out, Spirit Mountain Coffee in Yuma. You guys are great. Notes of chocolate and slight bitterness. And I believe that comes from the acidity from the coffee bean. So,
I definitely get a ton of coffee in the aroma. Like
Okay.
shout out to Shift Coffee, who we
love
fucking
Shift.
love.
Shift is the shit, man. They're
Oh.
at Dark Sky. They're at Helton now.
Helton.
They're at Casual Pint. You
They're
guys are
about
killing
to be
it.
on the road too.
Oh,
Like,
congrats. Shout out to you guys.
so excited. For
I love your
that.
guys' product, and trust me, I don't endorse coffee unless it gives me like the shakes. So your shit's good.
I have half of one. today.
Shake driven, Liz approved. Like, shake it. You're having a midnight run. Anybody?
Give him.
We all have
some.
midnight runs. Okay, so you have the draft.
Nobody wants the midnight runs.
Oh, I'm
But
tired of the
everybody's
midnight run. Midnight run is my boyfriend's favorite right now too.
Oh,
Naturally,
dad,
Paul
dad
loves
joke
beer.
number 5. You didn't catch it.
All right, so you have draft, and this is in can.
Yeah,
I have can.
can.
Yes.
I actually get more smell off the draft, but it could be the glassware.
These have been sitting out. We have been talking for almost 45 minutes now. And the funny thing is that when you do want to try and break up your palate, when you are trying different beers, the one thing that you go to is coffee. Coffee has that molecule that will break up the smell receptors in your nose. So it's this is going to be funny because it's going to be like, can we tell a difference? Is there much of a difference? Because I'm not sure, because my nose is being tricked because of all the coffee in there.
Gotcha.
Regardless, I'm still going to drink it because I love this beer.
Question that came in.
Yeah.
So somebody loves oatmeal stouts. Doesn't necessarily love coffee.
Okay.
What tends to be the trend with coffee being in porters and stouts? Like, why is that such a prominent flavor that a lot of
That's an excellent question. I believe that when you see a coffee stout, could you imagine doing a coffee IPA? Sure. Can you imagine a coffee Kolsch? Yes, we see it. We have it. I've been a big fan of Huss's coffee Kolsch for a long time now. Why is it always so prevalent in maybe like the darker style beers? I think right there, I think it's just kind of like staying with its own herd. I think when you add coffee to especially the yeast of a stout or a porter, it naturally helps brings out those notes in the yeast.
Yeah.
And then a big one that a lot of people miss out on is malt. Malt characteristics are a huge part in this style of beer. Coffee is in bean, right? It is the dried, roasted heat applique to bring out the most potential of its flavor, right?
Yeah.
When you are doing kind of like the same practices with your malt, it becomes a really good pairing. It's like when you match wine with, the kind of protein that you're going to be eating, kind of same thing. You're trying to match flavors. But it doesn't mean that that's the end all be all of it either.
No.
The coffee and the oatmeal in here gives it a nice richness, a nice full-bodied mouth feel. Pardon. Pardon. So,
and going off of that, I think a lot of reason why
get this straight.
darker beers tend to do a lot of coffee forward flavors is simply that when you're brewing a darker beer, the whole coloring comes from the different malts, rows of wheat or barley or that you're using, and it's really easy to introduce coffee in that way and not worry so much about the coffee like tainting the color or anything like that. And so, like, kudos to someone like Huss who's doing a coffee flavored light beer. So much more difficult to like extract that flavor but pull it before it starts to taint the color and everything. And so I think a lot of times it's just really natural. Like you said, like when you're drinking red meats, you tend to do red wine. you're drinking a white meat like a fish or a chicken, you tend
White
to go
wine.
for white wine. It's that same kind of pairing.
It's a pairing, but it doesn't limit it to it. And that's the cool part about brewing with coffee is that you've seen it in a Kolsch and it comes out like this color, like this SRM. Like that is, but you drink, you're like, whoa, where did coffee come from? You're a little ninja over here. Little caffeinated ninja, which, great name for a beer.
Caffeinated ninja.
I'm stealing it. Don't you dare take it.
Can it be
Caffeinated
like
ninja.
Can it be like a little guy? Like,
I am the caffeinated ninja. I'm not very silent.
It's
though.
gonna have little like
It's gonna have like blue glasses,
little blue glasses,
which is like
with his mask and his like, hiya there.
and this like chunky white girl like like little. Anyway, I'm thinking of my own can art. Anyway,
we'll make it up.
but that's an excellent question. Thank you so much for asking that. I challenge any other brewer out there to be brewing with caffeine, to be brewing with whole bean coffee, seeing what else you can come up with. I'd love to mix almost this with like a raspberry, which brings us into a whole nother topic of like Randalls. Yeah, I'm gonna Randall Midnight Run with raspberries. Keep an eye out for that. But that's something too. It's like we want to make this. Well, we've already made it and it's wonderful. I love doing this as like dessert style. So just because I'm a diabetic does not mean that I don't like to indulge in my stuff. I'm responsible. I'm a responsible diabetic. We've actually done this with a scoop of ice cream.
Oh, I could absolutely 100%.
So good.
I love it.
Midnight Run shake. Yeah.
Yes. So I want to really quickly,
Mm-hmm.
before we go on total rants, because
It's gonna happen.
I feel like so when we were filming the Helio Basin episode with Dustin and Mike, and it was Justin's favorite subject of barrel-aged beers, and I think I was doing this at like 120. I'm like, it's been way too long, boys. Like, people are starting to get a little buzzy. Like, we need to stop them. I feel like this would be the episode where Justin, to me, would be like, I think we're good. We're just going to keep going and rant and do our thing until...
We ate before this.
We did, until you don't want to hang out anymore.
But why we decided to do Midnight Run full of caffeine in the middle, I think it's actually a pretty damn good decision.
Because
We were supposed to save this for...
We're going to take a run around the block in between. and then
Literally,
just
we're going
come back.
to jump up and down Main Street here.
We're going to do the Miracle Mile as we walk and
Oh,
talk.
I like what you did there.
Thank
Oh, thanks,
you.
man. How was it? Did you like it?
Awesome.
So happy to hear.
So I want to get into these last two that are definitely some of your core. I want to talk a little bit more so about
Cirrus Hayes and
about
Black
Cirrus
Black.
Hayes because of the rebranding
Sure.
that it went through, of what it was. Do some quick tasting notes on them, kind of what things you should notice, where you can get it, all of that. I think Casey says, love it, have fun, y'all.
Oh, I love you, Casey.
And Orlando says, I know a great oatmeal stout. I'm like,
Oh,
I bet
okay,
you do.
Wanda.
Bet you do.
Man, Luis is over here like, bye.
He,
I
know.
love Orlando.
He also earlier made a comment to you that I think you commented back that where did
Kumi.
he say?
Kenny Rogers.
Okay, yes, the Kenny Rogers joke. That was great. He was like,
Hi,
"Keep up
Megan.
the
I love
good."
you.
Yay, Megan!
Yay.
Greenwood.
Or that could be her sister, Lisa. Hi, Lisa. I love you guys.
Whoever, maybe.
I don't care. I
We
just love
you.
everyone from Greenwood.
Orlando says good night. I'm like, it's really early.
Really, Grandpa? Are you
No.
freaking kidding
Go to
me?
bed early.
Okay.
Jeez.
My phone is also going to die at like literally at 5%. So at some point my live feed will go away, but follow the casual pine afterwards. So let's get into the last two. from
Let's.
12 West.
Okay.
And then because I really want to get into this subject about bottle conditioning. This is something I had so much fun doing, like hours of research this morning. I would love your input.
We're going to
as a
squeeze you
brewer.
in here, babe.
Anything that you know, either to say yes to my information, no, extra info, all of it. Please let me know. So let's do my favorite. We've had many fun, let's say, don't want to say drunken, but I want to say maybe some influenced voicemails back and forth to each other because of this beer, where we would come up with jingles. Blah, 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 blah.
I forgot we did that. I forgot that was a thing. We
Such a thing. I think.
So first of
It was
all,
great.
before you dive any further into that, I got to give kudos to you, Kirby, because you and Kelly have definitely made my quarantine so much more entertaining than I could ever imagine.
Oh my god!
I can't tell you guys how many times we FaceTimed just to be like, yo,
I need another person in my.
I need you to start filling this void that is my empty condominium with your voice.
So
She got to know my dog really well.
via FaceTime. Where the first time I met her, it was like we were already best friends.
Totally.
We just knew it. Same, vice versa with mine, which was wonderful. We talked beer, we talked life, we talked food, all sorts of things. I think we played
Man.
games.
I regret nothing with us.
Never ever.
Ever.
But the Black Lap, it was actually like right when you started here, was kind of when things were slowly letting up a little bit, and so it was kind of like, okay, we can feel comfortable like being together again in person.
Right.
They're like, come over. I have a ton of 12 West here. Let's do it. Like,
I needed
fuck
help
yeah.
with my research.
Yes. Got to sample
My
beers
job
and
doesn't
research.
suck.
And
I'm just one person.
we were like coming up with silly jingles and tunes and whatnot to all the different beers.
Blah 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 blah
Blah, 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 blah,
blah.
blah. Whole thing. And so it became this like running joke. We would like leave each other voicemails about nothing except like
If I tell her I love her, instead of I say, bye Kirby, I love you, and say, bye Kirby, I blap blap you.
blah blah.
I just made that up now. That's not one of our original voicemails, but I'm saying it now.
No. I don't know if that counts as a dad joke. No, I don't think so. But
We'll leave it in
It
here.
was a lot of fun. So this one's always had a great name to it. And
Blap
it's
Blap is
super
fun.
This is
Blap blap
one of your
is
cores again.
another core beer. I'm saving. Rearranging my space. Okay. Blap blap is our Belgian blood orange wheat. One of our core 6. It's been around for a minute. Look at the color on this beauty. Just solid.
Beautiful. Right?
It's
I'm going to pour it out the can.
with the exception of the Palatero being one of my personal favorites. I think that I've even answered the question, which one? Yeah.
So this is definitely so. Look at that color difference.
And this is by no means a quality control test. This is just comparing what dad joke number 5. What can come out of your product that you see.
Absolutely.
And it could have been because this can has been sitting for a while. Sometimes you swirl it, which is going to be a test that you guys will see when I pour out Sears Haze. This one obviously draft. This one's from can. I'll even tell you right now. She's in code, and it's time to test them. Time to taste them.
Well, and it could be a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like when you get difference in coloration and stuff like that, I mean, it could be that everything from when you're canning, but this was from the beginning of the tank.
These could be 2 totally different processes of a tank.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is as much as you try, oh my God, you're down.
Oh, solid.
Yay!
Kirby's staying on.
Woo!
Woo! How's
Joe
mine
is my
doing?
angel.
We're doing good.
I adore you. We'll see if. Yay! Oh my God! And I had 1%. You saved me.
Wow.
A lot of times, yeah. I mean, this can happen if it's 2 completely different batches. Obviously, they're brewing it the same. They're putting the same recipe forward, doing the same time constraints.
We wouldn't go all wackadoo just because.
But it can happen. That slight nuances in it. Maybe it was left. I mean, I was brewing with the guys just yesterday morning, and we had moments where it was like, oh shit, this timer's beeping. I gotta go move this over. But this is ready to go too, and it ends up staying in the mash 10 minutes longer. And so you're going to get more of a color coming through the water, or it ended up boiling a little bit longer. And just slight nuances that can change the can to can.
Everyone has missing one. Joe? You good?
Cool. You got some.
All right.
My phone.
I'm
did die.
continuing my wizard staff. By the
Do
way.
it. So, blap blap.
Blap blap. Blood
no
orange
same-
Belgian wheat.
Blood orange Belgian wheat.
Cheers, babe.
Cheers. This is one of my favorites for sure.
Tasty beverage.
Oh yeah.
She's delicious. Light.
Yeah.
People get a
super
little
light
afraid
on the
when you
mouth.
hear Belgian. They're like, oh, it's going to be like 12%. No. ABV on this little beauty is a... I'm old as hell. I have to start moving glasses now, and I should know this. Like, I can help you look. 6%.
Super
6%.
light, cool drinking
It wasn't fun. Oh,
day.
pause. No.
I super like. It's not. It has a little bit of a lingering to it, but nothing crazy. Like, it's not like a lot of heavier beers that were like you get that particles that just kind of stay and hang out.
Particles. That's another great word. Particles. Don't be afraid of particles in your beer, and we're going to tell you why in just a minute. Definitely more blood orange.
I actually
in the
got
draft.
more in the can.
Really? That's
Yeah.
really funny.
I don't know.
It's kind of like subjective. Like, you know how IBUs are all subjective? Like, somebody can say, oh, this is 100 IBUs, and somebody's like, it's like 45, bro. Chill.
Yeah.
It's really a scale. It's a moving scale. I've seen many social media hardcore debates on someone's IBU versus another. This is not an IBU debate, not whatsoever. This is a fruit forward. This is a wheat beer, so this is made with different ingredients than the ones that we previously talked about. This is a Belgian yeast. Belgian yeast is completely different than anything else and very expensive and a little bit temperamental. But the fact of the matter is that this is one where some people get really kind of like what I was saying earlier, because it's a Belgian. Pardon. Is it going to be a 12% beer? No. This one's cool. I like Blep Blep a lot because blood orange is a really cool citrus.
It's beautiful.
It's really cool. If you've
love
never actually like held a blood orange, it looks like a normal orange. But once you expose the juice and the rind and the actual fruit part to oxygen, it turns from orange to blood red, literally to red. The juice it's just a really cool oxidation effect, but it has a very distinct flavor. So the fact that they decided to do a wheat beer with a blood orange citrus, you could have done orange, you could have done lemon, you could have done lime. Blood orange is a very cool citrus, and I see blood orange everywhere. You see blood orange all over the place, but it only matters there are very few breweries that actually nail the pure essence flavor of blood orange. And I'm not tooting my own horn. Again, I've been a big fan of 12 West way before I was employed. This one nails it.
You know,
There's like the San Pellegrino, not San Pellegrino. It's that Italian soda. That's blood orange. That's the only thing that I can compare it to. I'm not crazy, am I? Y'all are looking at me like I've got 3 heads.
that baby is something.
Yeah.
Well, and it reminds me, Helio Basin over in Phoenix, they have a blood orange pale ale.
Yeah.
They actually do a really nice job of bringing a lot of that forward.
I need to
But-
spend some more love at Helio. Y'all were,
Should.
they were so great. I would go down there in Arcadia a lot, and I remember dropping off a couple of the collaboration beers that I did with Wine Pig, and I was
Yeah.
like, can you please give me your notes? And they're like, it's delicious. And I'm like, you guys are great. Food is awesome there too, by the way. Oh my god, their food is good.
Well, it's interesting that
Anyway, back to beer.
I know we're gonna side note, and that's okay. But I wanted to point out something that you're talking about with blood orange, saying like the main thing that makes blood orange what it is the oxygenation that happens. How interesting it is that you choose it to put it in a beer when that's something that's
They try to
run away
avoid.
from. Like, how do you?
This whole beer thing is just a crazy
I'm
chemistry
curious,
set,
like-
man. Like,
It makes me want to understand, like, okay, how do you take this fruit that's been oxygenized and put it in a beer without harming the beer? You know, I don't. That would be a.
that's a Brian Hilton question, to be honest.
That's a Brian Helton. So, note to self to ask him later.
Hey, O'Brien.
Or Louise,
Tell
do
us.
you
Yeah, what do you think,
have
Luis?
any ideas?
Well, it's added in the fermentation process.
Okay,
Process before it's done fermenting.
gotcha. So, Luis is helping us out. He said that the blood orange and the flavor is actually added in the fermentation process, so
it's
that
completed.
before it's completed, so that way it helps bring in that flavor without harming the beer.
You know, causing the fermentation continues and will push out some of that
Perfect.
the concerns you have in regards to oxidizing the beer because the fermentation process hasn't finished.
Cool.
Because fermentation takes time, pressure, and bacteria, right? But when you cut open a blood orange, you're taking out the bacteria and you're very much shortening the time, right?
Because it's like instant what it's touching.
Right, because it's the acidity in the actual fruit talking to the oxygen molecules, and they're like, bah! But when it comes to fermentation, which that's the scientific term for it,
I love
bah! Like that's really what it is. But when you're talking about fermentation, which is literally everything on this table,
Yeah.
and we eat and consume more fermented products than we know, right? Anything that's pickled, that is in a jar. Like there is a bacteria marriage going on. And lots of things that are happening all around certain things. And it really is a big matter of bacteria. There's good bacteria. We all know there's good gut bacteria. Fermented products are good for our microbes in our bellies. Like,
Penicillin. Hello.
right. So
Bacteria.
beers, and there are probably
Sour
dozens of
beers.
studies that say beer is good for you. Coffee is good for you. All these different things. And of course, I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV. But when you have these things coming into your gut biome, that there are going to be things that agree with you and some don't. But when it comes to producing a fermented product, which is beer, you know, you're playing with science, you're playing with nature, you're playing with blood oranges to make a delicious wheat beer. And I'm just gonna shut up and drink it. So there's that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And I know, I mean, obviously you guys can get any of this 12 West beer. Cheers. Here or at their Gilbert location off of Gray by the Top Golf. That's how I remember it.
We are at Topgolf actually.
Yes, that's what I was
Hopefully
gonna
when they
ask.
open up
Is-
that, oh god, I miss
No.
Topgolf. Seriously, one of the
They're
best date
open.
nights ever. Yeah.
Yeah, they're open back up. They're just, I think they're doing like every third tee off or something.
Regardless,
They're
we're going to
separating.
Topgolf and we're going to drink some Zona.
We're doing it now.
Yeah.
Where else can you get 12 West? Because obviously you guys are packaging a lot. Like,
Right.
Are you in any supermarkets? Are you in any like wholesale
That's an
places?
excellent question. So we are currently selling our Zona Pilsner at Total Wine. We also have package at Topgolf.
Beautiful.
And of course at our Gilbert and our Mesa locations. Keep an eye out. That is something that we're going to be developing more in the future, is how can you get your hands on more 12 West package. Total Wine has done an amazing job at keeping up with a lot of local breweries, having a lot of local package at their fingertips, and I think that's
We
great. So
appreciate it,
12
yeah.
West is definitely going to be at your local Total Wine.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Well, and I know Justin Curtis would love to have some 12 West beer.
Luckily, you know
pie.
someone who knows somebody who knows somebody.
What
So,
a coincidence.
what a coincidence.
Love
Look at
it. Okay.
So,
I want to try your last
the Cirrus.
staple.
Okay, I'm
the Cirrus
I
because
have a lot of
we've
of
talked
beer to
about
share.
this because I was like, ooh, this is new, and she's like, actually, no, it's
So-
not new. We've all had it before, but under a different
A
pretense.
new name. So,
Ding,
yep.
ding, ding.
This is the artist formerly known as Kalax.
Okay,
Some people really have. I mean, I've heard it all. I've heard, is it a laxative beer? No, it's not. K-LAX refers to an episode of Rick and Morty.
good old cartoon.
We had some really great beers in our past that really highlighted the cartoon itself and the adult humor behind it. And what we have chosen to do is to take the K-Lax and rebrand it as Cirrus Haze. And it's a great beer. It's a New England style IPA with lactose. And it's the same beer that you love and have known for
Same recipe
for everything.
Didn't mess with it.
But look how pretty this can is. It's
No.
really beautiful. It's like this whole metallic thing is just.
We
I
can
think.
make a comment about that because it is very different than the rest. I mean, you look at
Oh,
the
yeah.
Blap, you look at the Zone, the Midnight Run. Like these are all very white with your structured writing, a little bit of something at the bottom. Like they're all. This is a trend, a series, something very
Absolutely.
noticeable that you can like. Modern Times, for example, like all their cans, no matter what it is, they're that white with the 3-stripe, their name, 3-stripe, go.
Right.
Certain ones do that versus other breweries that do like the super crazy stuff, change it up every time. What made you guys, in rebranding this, want to change it up? If you know.
So
versus
with
doing
this
something.
one, I feel a lot of the rebranding came from looking internally, looking at the beer itself. It's a New England style IPA. They're hazy, right? Arizonans really don't know weather other than what a haboob is. Google it.
Yeah.
It's not a dad joke.
No.
My mom
But-
would say GTS that, which meant Google that shit. GTS.
Yes.
Mama Lindbergh, shout out. But look at it. It's hazy, but it's not like pouring Play-Doh, right?
So we don't understand like mist weather versus downpours versus rainy versus. So, but we get cloudy.
We get clouds,
We
believe it or
understand,
not.
like, dust storms,
So a cirrus is a name of a cloud. It's those big, puffy, fluffy ones that you see out there. But this is made with cryo-mosaic hops. Okay. As well as Amarillo. So,
Oh, I get the Amarillo on the nose so much.
and then here's
I
the
was just
kicker:
gonna
lactose. So, with those three combined, not necessarily the hops, but with the lactose, you're going to create that quintessential New England style hazy IPA. I'm just going to pour this for you guys a little bit more, so you'll see.
I get so much of that Amarillo in the nose and on the back end.
Amarillo is a very distinctive hop.
Really distinct. I'm not gonna lie, it's not typically one of my favorite hops because I feel like sometimes it can overpower.
It's an intense hop.
The beer, yeah, it can definitely, if you don't balance it with a different hop. Anytime I've ever seen something with like single hop series and it's Amarillo, I'm like, oh, that sounds lovely. I'm If you have water, like I'm gonna pass because I know
Some people are Cascade hops. Some people are a Mosaic hop. Some people are not an Amarillo hop. I'm
I get
totally
it.
cool with that. Side note, before I get into hop profiles, I want to show you one really quick thing. I poured in these two vessels the same can, right? The lighting may be weird, but there, from our perspective right here, this is a little off. Now, I don't know if you guys caught this. What I just did was I gave my can a little swirl. I do this for a couple of reasons. One, before I even cracked it open, I gave it a little massage, gave it a little roll, help with what is in this can, become all happy and, you know, chill with everyone. I poured it out and then I gave it a little swirl. That little swirl is going to help bring up everything that you want to taste. It's not to denote what you don't want to taste, because then why would I put it in a can? I want to get the full flavor, full mouthfeel, full body of a beer. So I'm going to swirl it just a touch. I'm going to take a little bit out so I can have some room to show you. But I'm going to swirl this just a touch. Here, I'll even bring it up for the camera, okay? And you're going to immediately tell the difference between that first pour and the second pour. Now, they're really similar, okay?
I even start to see little tiny particles.
And I'm happy you get to see that, because you know what those sea monkeys mean? Deliciousness.
Deliciousness. This is something we run into a lot. That as brewers, I've run into at the pint that people will like pour a whole beer and they're like, oh, there's floaties in it. There's like weird thing.
I call them
beer's
sea
bad.
monkeys.
And I'm like, no,
Beer's
it doesn't
not
mean the
bad.
beer is bad. It means
No.
simply that when in packaging this, you're getting those slight little bits of sediment. Sometimes it's little particles of grain. Sometimes it's little bits of protein or yeast or wheat or part of the hops. Like depending on what kind of beer that you're having, you want to pour a little bit in your. So you can taste
16
it.
ounces of love I can share.
So much, but I can't tell you how many times a week that I tell people like it's okay that there's stuff in your beer. Because
And this isn't just us. It's an industry almost not standard, but acknowledgement that this happens to our beer. This happens, and it's okay. It's not gonna make you sick.
You're not
It's
going to
not-
get grossed out. It's not going to change the flavor.
No.
It's just simply
Half the time, people can't even tell that there's a flavor difference in some of this too,
no, not at all.
at all.
And so don't get freaked out by it. I've definitely had people that have gone home, taken beer, they've opened, poured, or even at the location like 4-1, they go, oh, there's stuff at the bottom. It's gone bad. I can't drink that. I want a new one.
There is one exception to that, and that's if you look under the can. A lot, for our products, our Best By dates are on there. And by the way, I love these little Easter eggs that we do. Read that. Huh?
New name, same
Say
haze.
hey. Shout out to Gully, you're a goddamn genius.
Oh, I love it.
Same name, new haze. And then of course this one, it's just gonna be drink. So it's the same Kalax that you know and love. New name.
It started out as a thing with European Hefeweizen. But are we saying we should do that with the beer? Make it a little.
Absolutely. So
It's actually a sister-own technique.
yeah, what we're talking
Or if you work in
about
beer.
stirring your beer or
Just a
making
little-
sure to kind of give it a light couple tilts. There's going into like why certain beers get bottled versus canned or anything is because of that. I actually was reading a lot beers like wheats, like Hefeweizens, a lot of these very more barley, oat, wheat forward beers are actually preferred to be drank in can or bottle so that you can sift them slightly.
Right.
Because all of that sediment, all those little particles that you get when you pour at the end, they're meant to be drank throughout the whole process. And if you keg it, and it's, you know, you have to think about how often, like, when you're, you know, at a tap house or something like that, that one tap is sitting there, you're maybe pouring 2 or 3 pints out of it. After a while, when your bottle is this big, all of that sediment and everything starts to settle.
Gravity works.
Gravity works on the bottom. So then all that beautiful stuff that you want to be tasting throughout every pint, throughout every bit, unless that tap house is like every so often throughout the day, kind of shifting it around, you're losing a ton of that. And that's why when you get towards the end of the keg, we get those like bombs where all of a sudden you pour it and you're like, fuck, this is thick. Like, what is going on?
With 2
like,
C's.
ooh, it's
thick
gone,
with 2 C's.
it's gone bad. And you're like, no, it's just now we're hitting all that sediment. And you're fortunate enough when you're at tap houses that because they recognize that and understand it, a lot of those beers, they're actually in their tap room are pulling straight from tanks, which typically have a system where the pull line is coming from the very bottom of that tank, and it creates this almost like air pocket cool
Suction.
thing to where it's constantly sucking a bit from the bottom, so any sediment that may sit, and the shit from the top. So it's naturally doing this circulating kind of thing.
And one way to avoid that, if you are at a tap room, say like the Casual Pint or wherever your local watering hole
Tortoise,
is,
Sleeping Whale, or
Courthouse, or whomever.
Tons of you guys.
One really cool trick that I've seen when it comes to hazies is that when you receive this keg, be it a half barrel or a slim, store it upside down.
Yeah.
And I've seen this with a lot of our local tap rooms, even breweries. They know their stuff. When they're about to tap that keg, then they'll flip this guy upside down, then tap it. That way, a lot of that sediment isn't just sitting there, and you're not wasting, you know, a sixth of a barrel. And I know to a lot of our folks who are not in the industry, that may not sound like a lot, but it could be detrimental between like $100 for how much you've ever spent on that keg to like $20. Regardless, you want to make sure it's good to the last drop.
100%. And it's you just have to be mindful of those different styles of beer and
Right.
what you're doing and how you're treating them. And you know, when we get into these last two and really talk about bottle conditioning, that was a big thing.
Yeah, you said
that I read about certain beers that are privy more towards being a draft versus being a bottle or being a can and stuff like that.
I can do that.
Yeah, it's crazy color difference, all because it's what's settling and what's nothing is different in the taste of it, in the profile of what's happening in that beer. It's just simply you gotta mix shit up a little bit.
I'll drink the rest of this.
That's all.
Thank you.
I want to make sure, Joe, I haven't missed any questions or anything. Everybody's good. Cool. Okay. I want to get into these last two bottles because I really want to talk about bottle condition, and then we probably all need naps. Bottle opener, yes.
Thank God we got food here. Our kitchen's solid. Guys,
So much.
that's one thing that's really going to be my downfall in the beer community. Thank God I'm already, you know, dating
just
Paul
wait.
Rosebeer
It's a
because
whole
he loves
thing.
me no matter what. Oh, whoa.
Don't look at me like I'm weird. It's a whole thing that we do later.
I'll give you $1 if you drink it.
We do it at the end of every episode.
Tell me you're not going to put Midnight Run in there too.
Oh, we mix everything at the very end, and then we try it.
Listen, you know what? You take one more sip of your pure collaboration, and why do I join in these things? Why do I encourage her?
This was the Justin thing. We were going to honor you, and we were going to do it at the end. Justin mixes the end
Fuck
result
you,
of everything.
Justin.
And at least At least dries it. So while I'm doing all this, you can ignore me. Talk about
Justin.
the Josephine, the French.
So
saison.
I'm gonna talk. So we actually need a bottle opener for this one because not only is it a, capped, it's actually corked as well. So double for your protection.
It's like wearing a belt and the suspenders.
The belt and suspenders. Yes.
I'm
How
just.
a whole
can
bunch.
you trust a man? if he's wearing
Just
a belt?
ignore me.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Pretend this is not happening. Do your thing.
Thanks.
This is what I'm not drinking it or doing anything. It actually looks pretty fabulous.
It's the newest release. So I'm gonna jump downstairs and get a bottle opener because it's not only so it's actually corked as well.
Oh,
Oh,
we've
who's
got-
got a wine key? Wine key. Pardon. Excusez-moi.
what am I talking?
Un momento.
So I'm gonna go into a little bit of stuff while he is doing that for us. Which is beautiful. So one of the big things that I read and made sure, and I spoke with Brian about, thank you, about what constitutes bottle conditions. So this was a big trend back in Belgium, in France, that they would do as far as just a different kind of tactic. It was back when, obviously there wasn't like CO2 being able to be like forced into beer and everything, and like we have now with kegs and bottling and packaging. And what they would do, there's a couple different ways of doing it, but what a lot of them did is they would take a still fermenting beer that hadn't quite finished yet in the fermentation tanks. CO2 levels were super, super low, and they would bottle it
You're cute. Because I'm wearing a skirt.
pre-finish.
Well, that too.
And they would, right before sealing it, would thrust upon a bunch of primer sugars.
Primer sugar. Yes, this is something you were talking about earlier.
So not quite done fermenting, not quite done in the whole releasing of everything. Thrust it in a bottle, throw a bunch of primer sugars in it, and seal it. And what it would do is those sugars mixing in with the yeast, mixing in with everything else that was going on, would cause this second fermentation and would then in the bottle create its own CO2. And the bartender's like, just gift me the bottle. Woo, Yahtzee! It's my favorite.
Nice.
Excuse me.
We're just gonna leave it. And do
I did it.
You didn't want to listen to me, but it's cool.
That cookies been sitting out for a minute.
You don't pay attention to your bartender.
The bottle has been sitting out for like an hour, so it's okay. It smells delicious.
It's my first time, everybody.
No, it's not.
I love it. So, hence this champagniness that's happening. But this is honestly, it's a good example of like why this happens. It proved a point, though. It proved a point.
What point would
So,
that be, Kirby?
The natural CO2
That
creation
Liz sucks
in
at
a
her
bottle.
job.
No, this proves a point. So the whole reason of something being labeled as bottle condition means
Stop
that
it.
rather.
Don't stop.
I'm trying to help. I'm
Thank you.
supporting this. Rather than it completing in a fermentation tank, moving on, they switch it to basically ferment inside a bottle and create its own natural CO2. Now, this is going to have a lot more head to it, a lot more foam going on. However, the CO2 taste on it is actually going to
There's
be
a garbage right over there,
silkier
too.
and smoother and like a lot lighter because it's all naturally made by adding sugars while it's still fermenting in a bottle. So if you ever see a bottle labeled as bottle conditioned, that's what that means. Is that quite simply it finished its fermentation in the bottle, and stuff like that can happen. So don't get freaked out. Don't get freaked out if when you're pouring it, half the
I'm
shit
not freaked out. I'm just mildly embarrassed.
Nah, it's all right. But just so you
I
know,
love representing my brand and my beer and my product. So that was thoroughly, and I hope it was entertaining for everyone else.
I thought
I'm sure it was.
great. I loved it. I was trying to be like,
Listen, everybody
the
else was
bright
laughing their
side.
ass off. I don't know if everybody could see that, but everyone else was laughing their ass off that meme.
I was trying to be like this Bill Nye the Science Guy over in the corner to hide this going on.
So this is Cuba Verdad series. This is our Josephine. This is actually our French Saison.
French saison.
I have a little affiliation for the French,
aren't you
personally and
French?
professionally. Are you French?
Yes.
French heritage.
French heritage. My great grandmother was a Sachere.
No shit.
Yeah. Fun fact: Tony Sachere seasoning is my great uncle. You're welcome, world.
World.
Because that shit's amazing. Yeah, Tony Sachere seasoning. Shout out to the Sacheres and the Hardmans of my life.
Of my
I love
life.
it. I love
One
it.
thing that I know, she's very
She's
fragrant.
super
She's very fragrant.
Oh no!
I knocked
Yuppie.
over the wizard's staff.
It's okay.
Ah, yes. So one thing about a French Saison. Saisons are in the family of sours, gozas, and lambics, and the like.
Yeah.
Monsieur? And Saison has a very, I want to say, devout following. If you're really into Saisons.
love
It is
Yeah.
a funky beer. And here's the cool thing about it. It uses, this one for sure, is a passion fruit lactobacillus, which is another very widely used strain of bacteria that really does yield a lighter style on the palate. Like, I think I really do enjoy a good lactobacillus versus Brett trimycin. So you're going to hear these kind of things where it's these two battling, bacteria, lacto and Brett.
I would say even just looking at it, like the look and the smell and just the pour, I would almost, my immediate thought is that it's going to actually drink quite thick.
It looks like that, right?
Yeah, it definitely looks that way.
And I'm telling you, the bottle, smell the bottle. Now smell your beer. Different.
So much
Two totally
more.
different beers.
Yeah.
I know, right? This has been fermented in French sherry pinchons, which is another kind of way to bottle it. Or ferment. This one was bottled on 9/21. So another,
Holy moly.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a good holy moly, but holy moly.
Yeah.
Ugh. Justin's going to be so sad.
After drinking all this other stuff, I'm sure our palates are freaking blown.
I know.
So a Saison, if you're willing to get into Saisons, into Gozas, into something that's a little bit heavier on like the weird side for you, Saisons are definitely one that I highly encourage to jump into. They can be very, very mild to a little bit more intense. I feel like this is a little bit more on the intense side.
Absolutely.
Not only just with flavor, but I mean, look at it.
I mean,
The smell is phenomenal.
if I walked in on this, I would assume it's a hazy IPA sitting in front of me. Or some kind of citrusy wheat beer, like it's super thick. Can't see through it at all. But that smell is like There's no doubt.
We are very proud of
It's
this one.
a saison. It's really intricate. I get the passion fruit. Before you said that, I was like, there's some kind of fruit in it.
Americans are really privy to passion fruit. I think it's something that it obviously isn't grown domestically, so we don't really know the full extent, like an apple or a citrus fruit. But passion fruit is fun. It's this beautiful, vibrant red and almost looks like identically like this on the inside. Grown in Australia, Southern Hemisphere fruit. It's almost comparable to a stone fruit like apricot or even peach. But I think that this is definitely by far one of my personal favorites. I love the Josephine. It's
definitely something I would need to sit and drink, almost like wine.
yeah.
Rather than beer, like just nice and slow,
Pairs
steady,
really
little
well
sips,
with like
like
pork
nothing,
or
nothing crazy.
we're
to
very
it.
I personally am very proud of our bottle series.
Love it.
Not a lot of breweries will adventure into bottle series, especially when it comes to Brettanomyces or lactobacillus kind of bacteria, because it's a very volatile ingredient to use. Not a lot of people know, but bacteria spreads quickly and it can be devastating to a brewery. So one thing that our brewery really prides itself on is making sure that if you're going to get something with this bacteria, it's going to stay with this. Because like I mentioned before, beer and brewing is very much a chemistry set. It's a living chemistry set. So we know if you contaminate one thing, then it's going to transfer to the other. And that's a very tricky thing to do. But you know what? We nailed it. Those guys down at that brewery know what they're doing. And when you can have something where you can have a Palatero series that has nothing to do with Brett or Lacto, that this is separate. I'm really looking forward to the next open fermentation space. I'm really looking forward to that.
Maybe a collaboration.
Oh. You don't say.
Maybe. Just saying.
What else?
What? Did somebody say collaborate? Sour IPA.
Sour IPA.
Just, I would love that. He'll
That's
do
what you
it
got. That's what you got, guys.
Yeah, welcome.
We've been talking for almost 2 hours.
That's what I told. So Joe is
Sorry,
fabulous.
Joe. Thank
for
you,
me
Joe.
that he'll tell me when I'm at like our 30,
Like, shut
or
up.
45, because I do like to keep us generally like under an hour.
Nah, it didn't happen today.
We didn't care today.
Because Justin's not here.
It's because Justin's not here. So pray for all.
Yay, Justin's not here.
No, we love you. We miss you. We're sorry you couldn't be here. We will save you some beer. for
I'll send
next
you home with
time.
something, buddy.
We'll definitely make sure you get some. I hope you guys, of course, learned a little bit about it. Bottom line is, if you can tell the difference between drinking it out of draft, drinking it out of a can, there's something wrong. And that's really
If it's drastic.
If it's drastic.
If they're two totally different beverages, you're like, eh.
Then you need to make sure you check the can date, check what's going on with that, because ultimately, as a brewer, your goal is to make sure that it tastes and is treated exactly the same way, and it should be compiled the same way, because it's 100% about consistency and making sure that everything is going out in the best quality possible.
And if it's not, and if it's slightly off, lap, if it's not as red, don't persecute us.
Don't. And this is a huge thing that Brian and I actually talk about all the time. It's like, if you go somewhere and you have a can of something and you don't like it, don't instantaneously say, oh, that beer's shit. Oh, that brewery sucks, because that beer sucks. Go to the brewery and try that beer on draft there and then decide. Because by the time that you end up walking home with this can of beer, depending on where you're getting it from, you have no idea how it's been treated from the time that has been packaged at the brewery to the time that you're receiving it. You don't understand the delivery system. It could be in and out of refrigerators. It could be in and out of like however long it's staying in a warehouse before it's even like labeled to go out. Doesn't us. There's so many different things. Altitude that it's going in and out of if it's traveling over the country. There's so many factors that people don't take into consideration. And so 100% if somebody hands you a can of some brewery and you crack it open and go, oh, I don't like that. Of course there's personal preference, there's palates, there's all of that. But go try it at the source, at the brewery, from draft.
And if you have a question, ask.
Brewers
We have no problem answering questions.
Love.
We
to
don't
share the
hire
knowledge.
people who don't know at least something about our beers. I can go down and ask any of our servers to come up and be like, hey, tell me your thoughts on Midnight Run.
100%.
They'll know.
Yeah.
So trust your servers, trust your brewers, trust people who want to provide you with nothing but the best product that you're going to enjoy.
Give it the shot. Always.
And fear no beer.
Fear no beer. And then you know what? If you don't like it, then you just don't like it. It's not your thing.
I'm
And
not
that's
mad at
okay. We all
If you're
like
not a
different
French
things,
saison
so.
guy, don't be a French saison guy. I'm alright with
I
that.
love it.
Cool.
We're going to finish drinking all of this without you.
Gonna try.
So thank you so much for watching. Ask questions later. We will see you later. Love y'all.
Cheers, babe.
Cheers, babe. So glad to be here.